Hello and welcome back to Art, Creativity, and Wellbeing. Glad you're here. I want to jump in with a quick update today about what's coming up in the next 3 months is really what I'm envisioning. Although I think I'm going to take you into just two of them today. uh, for those of you watching in video, you may notice that I am in a different space. I'm in a different environment. I'm finally in my home. My husband and I moved into our new home here in Maine about 3 weeks ago. Today was the day that we finally closed. It was so interesting and so crazy to get here, so challenging. And it really was a great exercise in sitting with what's, disturbing and being patient to see how things unfold and staying with this kind of like serendipity and envisioning the best outcome and embracing that outcome rather than being caught up in thoughts about how or why it's wrong or whatever, or why the things that are happening is really what I mean by why it's wrong. And And now we're here. Now I'm here. I've got a studio space again for recording. I've got my easel set up, which I haven't had my studio easel for art making set up now for months, and I'm already noticing the ability to create from a good place inside. Now that I've got my art set up again, it's very helpful for processing, and it also makes some fun, some really fun things get created. The energy that I'm in when I'm making them is so interesting, and I'm remembering in past years when things have been really extra challenging. What I used to do was I would go and make art about it. I'd be like, okay, this there needs to be some easel time. And having spent months without an easel, not that I haven't had art, but I haven't had an easel for long enough that, boy, it's nice to sink back into that and remember the good feelings, the healing that comes with just bringing your attention to. The way I've been thinking about it is each when you're painting, I read this in a book somewhere, which I really loved this idea. What you're really doing is you're encountering one problem or challenge in the painting after another. And this particular painting that I made was, the way I think of it is this poor painting just was. I kept putting stuff in and taking it out, and finally sort of realizing or getting to the point where I realized that like all the stuff I was adding in, like a campfire and Adirondack chairs, they were really just a distraction from this incredibly peaceful scene with a moon and mist, which I had experienced a few weeks ago on the lake that we were staying at when we had no fixed address. And it was just really helpful to remember, oh yeah, all that's a distraction. Like we can just be settled into the peace of this painting. And honestly, it's funny how that is an update. It's been such a disruptive time. I keep remembering the idea that like when you set an intention to do something, it can be really messy, and that doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's just good to remember that I can be okay and I can encounter that, right? So that's how we got here, I guess. And I'm excited because a couple things about this, about not just today's post, but these upcoming couple months. So today in this post is the chapter that I'm writing, that I wrote for the current book that I'm working on, which is called How It Feels to Be a Millionaire and 11 Other Mindset Games for Fun and Profit, is what I called the book. And this chapter is a mindset game called Now and Later. It's really a meditation, and one that is so helpful in envisioning the future that we want to be living in, and not just envisioning it like with our mind, but really feeling it in our body. And it's included at the bottom of this post for those of you who are supporters in a financial sense of my work. And the way I've been thinking about it is I'm so grateful to you because what's happening here is I'm giving you a little piece of my heart when I write these. And just the gratitude that I feel for you being open to receive a little piece of my heart, it allows me to be vulnerable and courageous to share. And it really, really means a lot. This particular chapter is a departure in terms of how it's written. And it's written like no other chapter I've written, either in this book or in my previous book, my memoir. And I'm really curious to hear what you think. Yeah, it felt like a really exciting and energizing way to write it, and it comes out very conversational. I think, at least with my reading, and as I say, I would be very curious to hear what you think. So that's included in today's post, and there's a link here if you are not yet a supporter of my work. Of me and my work. And if you'd like to, you can click that link and become one. It means a lot. The people who allow me to share these pieces of my heart and receive them. It's just the best feeling. So thank you very much. And then for our podcast and newsletter as a whole, what I've come out of these months of turbulence with is a desire to simplify and close loops, I think is how I will say it. While we were packing, I just kept looking at what was in front of me, when you upend your whole house and everything is there in view after 20 years of living in a place and raising your kids there. I would look at a pile and I'd be like, I do not even know where to start. And I'd just be like, okay, well, we're just going to close one loop by picking up one thing and deciding what to do with it. And then gradually I sort of expanded to where it felt like packing up a box, closing one box that was going to be moved or donated. Felt like that was a loop that I'd just closed. And then getting everything to the point where we could move it, that felt like closing a loop. And then actually the day the movers came and we moved, that felt like closing a loop. And what I've been noticing is as I close loops in my life or in my work, more loops open. Like the closing of one loop means the opening of another one. And I really want to celebrate that because I all this year throughout 2025 have been creating a special, I'm thinking of it as a podcast within a podcast, a special series with my former coach, now colleague and friend, Andrew Moss. He's the guy who coached me and supported me as I was training to become the person who could solo hike across northern England in 2023 after needing a wheelchair in 2011 and 2012. And this was in sort of doing these conversations, what we decided to do was to, if you've ever read, there's a book called The Tools, I think it's called The Tools, by Phil Stutz, who is, he is the subject of a really wonderful documentary in Netflix. The documentary is called Stutz, in fact. It's called Stutz. And a client or a patient of his is a wonderful, famous actor, and I'm blanking on his name. Jonah Hill, I think is what his name is. Jonah something. I think it's Jonah Hill. Who wanted to bring his therapist to the world. And they made this incredible documentary, which was really transformative for me. I actually mention it in my memoir because it helped me integrate myself. And it helped me understand that it was okay to have an identity in here that was emerging, and that is Kay. That's who you're speaking with. Like I'm Karen was my given name, and I'm also Kay. And to be to feel whole is such a wonderful feeling. And it was the movie Stutz that helped me understand a path forward to do that. And so, anyway, when Andrew proposed that we take the tools that I share about that he and I developed or built upon from tools that have been around for millennia, he suggested, what if we have some conversations about these? And there are 7 tools, and then there's an 8th one that should have been in there, but I just didn't write about it, called the midline. And what we've been doing is each month we've been having a conversation about a tool. And the last one that we record will actually be tomorrow, and I will share it out into this feed soon after, or sometime after. And then in November, our invitation is that if these tools have been helpful for you, or if you've got questions about them, or you just want to be in the room as they're being talked about, we are offering out, we're going to do a call, like a wrap-up tools call, and we're inviting you to be a part of it if you'd like to. Even if you want to just witness and be there to listen, if you've got questions, if you want to share about how a tool or a couple tools have been helpful for you, any of that would be amazing. So get in touch with me. klockculp.com/contact is the best place, and I'll put the link to that in the show notes. And then you can be part of that. And so I've been, because there's been so much transition for me personally in 2025, so Andrew and I started recording these live in LinkedIn, and then I was taking those and I was putting them. I thought I'd make another podcast that was just going to be about the tools, and that it just was splitting my attention in ways that were hurting my brain. So eventually, I decided after we got about halfway through, I decided to put them here in this feed. And what I've decided to do is I'm thinking of them as the lost episodes. Take the first 4 episodes, the first 4 recordings that we did on the tools, and put them in here throughout October, so that you've got them all in one place. All the tools here in this, if you subscribe in Substack, or if you follow the podcast in your favorite podcatcher, or if you're watching in YouTube, you can just have access to them all in one place. That's really the goal. And that way, it just feels, I don't know, it feels like closing a loop, because I'm not even the same person that I was when we started these conversations, and they've evolved. I'm actually feeling a little vulnerable about sharing the first ones, because I had no idea what the hell I was doing. And so I'm sure I'm going to listen back and hear some nerves and some growth and some discombobulation in the conversations themselves. I'd never done anything live in LinkedIn. Oh my goodness! So it'll be interesting to see how I grew, and I'm excited too, because I feel like I'm also not the same person who I was when I finished where I ended the memoir, right? So Waking Up is about the journey of me growing to love my body and myself while solo hiking across northern England. And then the spoiler alert that I offer in the book is I did it. Like, there were lots of times along the way where I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. There was a night where I contemplated taking my own life, because I couldn't even understand how I might have the agency to do it, to go at all. And then all the training and all the events and support and courage in becoming the person who could do it. And then I did it. but I had no idea what was waiting for me when I got back. And so the third part of the book um, is called Integration, because I really wanted to share the experience of, it's so messy. Oh my goodness, it's so friggin' messy. But I wanted to share that experience of what it's really like to try something that you really want to do, what you encounter, and then when you come back as a different person than before you left, what's it like to return to your life? And so, and since that book came out, it's had such a wonderful reception. It's been so amazing to do to be a featured author, whether it was on the book tour that I went on when it was published, or um, in events and recordings ever since. Um, and I feel like what's happened is an expansion of that book to be where I am now, and there's been so much growth that's happened after it. Um, And it's interesting to look back just on that, closing that loop, finishing that book, finishing that journey, opened up a whole new loop and a whole new journey. About a year ago, my husband and I set an intention of living in an intentional way in this part of our lives. And what that really meant was um, was moving to where we really wanted to live, even if we didn't know what that meant at the time. And it's just been so interesting how this happened for us, that we live on 25 acres in a beautiful, very quiet part of Maine, in a home that feels like it was, you know, built for us, really, really built for us. And now this loop is closing because we're here. And oh my gosh, it's been so interesting to see what this integration is like and what the turbulence here has been like. And who knows what's opening next. So I really would like to spend the rest of this year with you, kind of celebrating coaching, celebrating transformation, celebrating presence, because these are the things that I think a lot of people are chasing. Not necessarily coaching in particular, but uh, I see this, as a coach, what people are really seeking is to live how they want to live, and and what is the transformation that needs to happen if you're going to do that. And then living in the present moment is something that people are really yearning for, even if they couldn't name that. And I know that was certainly true on my journey. I didn't know what presence was, and to be able to not only hold it for myself, but to serve others. Oh my goodness, what an incredible gift to be able to do that. And so yeah, celebrating coaching, celebrating transformation, celebrating presence in the last part of 2025, as we close the loop on 2025, means sharing out these episodes of the transformational tools that helped me get here, and inviting you into a conversation about them if you'd like to. So um, if you want to be part of that, as I said, the link's in the show notes, klockcope.com/contact. And message me, and we'll make sure that you're in that room. What a room it's going to be. I'm so excited for that one. And I'm excited to bring you this today and just give you a little update on what's new, what's happening here. For those of you who are my paid supporters, this little piece of my heart for this month is located directly down at the bottom of the post here. So grateful to you, and I'm grateful to all of you, to every one of you listening and watching right now. It is something to be able to share the journey with you, and to be able to take you into my journey. And I feel very, very inspired by you, for you being here. So thanks. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to say. Oh, I know. The other thing I wanted to say was tonight in real time. It's Tuesday, the 30th of September. I am offering. It's a 6-week workshop that will play out over the coming weeks um, on changing systems when we don't like a system and we would prefer a different system. And that workshop starts tonight. The link for that is down in the show notes too. It's klockcope.com/system. And it's the first workshop that I've offered in this way that I'm offering it, which is to say out over time. Um, and so if you're listening now on the 30th of September, by all means join. Like, right? If it sounds resonant to you, please join us. If you're listening later, consider joining us as well because these are being recorded. You can jump in anywhere. You can even jump in if it's the last day of it, which is sometime in November, and you're only just finding out about these and you want to be there. Um, Even if it's the last one, you still can. There's no prerequisites. You don't have to have been to any of the other ones in order to show up. And they're, as I said, they're being recorded, and so you can have access to them even after the workshop is done or in the middle of it. So um, if there are systems, I think actually maybe I'll leave you with a question. What's a system that you don't like? What's a system you don't like? Um, what would you prefer it to be? Like, what do you wish was different about that system? Or do you wish that you could just completely shift it to a whole other system? Um, we're doing that in this workshop. That is how I've been living my life. I've been changing systems for myself, and bigger systems. When I look through this lens, it's how I've been living certainly for the last several years, and it feels much better than the disempowerment I used to feel about trying to endure systems that sucked and that I wasn't enjoying but didn't feel the power to change. So really the invitation is if there's a system that you don't like, um, understand that you can change that if you want to. And this workshop is one way to do it. There's lots of ways, right? But if it resonates and you'd like to join us, the link is in the show notes. And we will see you there. All right. Thanks again for being here so much. I'm looking forward to all that is to come in this season, and as we close the loops on today, September, and then throughout to the end of the year, and opening up to what's next. Uh, oh, so I've had an idea about a workshop that I will be doing in 2026. It is on a really helpful way that I've used to actually create what I wanted to create in my life. I still do it today. It's writing a letter to the future. And so that's a little, what's coming up, what I'm thinking about in 2026. And that's where I'm going to leave it. Thanks so much for being here. Wishing you very well today. Lots of love. We'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.